I'm also going to record the meeting for
Yeah.
YouTube. All right, so I guess I'll get started. Just give me 1 minute to start sharing the presentation. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Alrighty. Well, hello everybody. Thank you for coming. So this is going to be the general interest meeting for the IEEE. Whoops. So I just want to introduce myself really quick. Introductions are going to be mostly at the end, but so I'm Tony. And I'm the current chair of the organization, and I will be bringing you through this presentation. So basically what I want to do today is just kind of tell you all a bit more about the IEEE, what we do, what some of our plans are for the upcoming semester, and try to kind of get you all interested in what we do and what we're about. And so the first thing I want to do is just talk a little bit about what the IEEE is. And so when I came to Albany, I really had no idea what the IEEE was, and just kind of looking at it, you might not get kind of a clear idea of what we are. But the IEEE stands for the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, and we've been around, well, the organization's been around since 1884. So it's a really old organization, and it was kind of first kind of founded on top of interests around surrounding radios and electricity, but it's evolved into something really big and has incorporated a lot of different aspects of computer science and electrical engineering now, like nuclear energy and blockchain. So it's a nonprofit organization, and it's really big. It has 420,000 members, and that spans the entire globe. And I believe there are members come from about 160 different countries, and anybody can be a member too. And so the IEEE has a lot to do with research and also creating standards for a lot of different things in the tech world. The IEEE's purpose is to pretty much promote the advancement of technology, to promote the advancement of humanity. And it would only make sense that the IEEE has a lot to do with research, because research is one of the ways that we can kind of learn new things and move forward. And so the IEEEs are responsible for a lot of different standards. For example, like there's this floating point standard that standardizes how floating point numbers. And so what I mean by floating point is just like a decimal number with a number with a decimal point, how those types of numbers should be represented in computers, and how things like, and how arithmetic operations with those types of numbers should be done, and a lot of other things. And so this type of standard helps kind of stabilize how floating point numbers work across different types of machines. And like before this was a thing, there were a lot, like portability issues between different devices and different computers. Another kind of cool example of a standard that the IEEE has created is a standard for the general process of cryptocurrency payment. And it basically describes how a consumer purchases goods or services with cryptocurrency, and how the merchant receives money in return. So the IEEE has had its has had a lot to do, or it has had its stake in a lot of different things, ranging from things that are really low level and things that are a bit newer, a bit more modern, like blockchain. And what's really cool is that the IEEE hosts is super active and hosts about 1,600 annual conferences a year, which is about 4 a day. So pretty much almost like any time of day, people are kind of presenting their work and presenting their research. And if you have taken the 300Z, ICSI 300Z, it's a class where you do a lot of writing about, you do a lot of writing surrounding different ethical issues surrounding computing. But in that class, you have to use the IEEE Journal Conference format for all of your papers. But that's something else that the IEEE is responsible for. And so what is the student branch? So the student branch is just the IEEE, but at UAlbany, and we're officially recognized by the IEEE. And student branches are a really big thing, and it's really popular, and there are 2,877 other student branches like us around the world. And our goal is to kind of help all of you learn more about technology, get more from the technology that you use in your lives, and also help develop your careers as young professionals. And so I'd like to kind of go over a little bit about what we offer. So we offer a lot with professional development. So Mondays, we have weekly meetings on Mondays at 8 p.m. where we go over coding interview questions, resume critique, and data structures and algorithms. And so the questions that we go over utilize or have to do with a lot of different things that you learn in data structures and algorithms here at UAlbany. And these are the types of questions that you're going to encounter when you're interviewing for companies for, say, like a software engineering position. So we kind of want to do our best to kind of expose you to these types of things and get you some experience with them before you go out into your actual job hunt. So this is a really good space to learn more about how to solve these types of questions. And also we can just give you general critique on your resume too. So it's very helpful if you're going out for a job hunt. Even if you're a freshman or a sophomore, this is something really good to kind of get into the habit of doing, especially if you're looking for like internships for the summer. Something else that we offer is side project development help. And so this is also something that we hold weekly meetings for. And so our goal here is to kind of provide a space where you can kind of get some creative feedback regarding projects that you're currently working on. And we really promote the idea of working on side projects because they really boost your resume, and it's a really great way to kind of create your own experience in software engineering or electrical and computer engineering if you don't have any work experience. And this is something really important that a lot of different employers will look for, especially if you're trying to apply for an internship or a new grad position. And you can also learn just a lot of new technologies. And even if you don't know where to start, or if there's something that you think is really cool that you don't really know much about, or you don't even know where to start for it. For example, like blockchain. It's something that is kind of it's spoken about a lot, but it's not really something you learn in school. And so if that's something that you're kind of interested in, then you could come to one of these nights and kind of say, hey, something I kind of want to learn a bit more about, and we can try to help you with that. Or if you just want some feedback on what you've been working on, you can also come and just kind of show off your project. But this is just like kind of just a space for you to kind of talk about these types of things. And going forward in the semester, we are looking into we are interested in looking at ways that we can kind of incorporate. So a lot of what we've done in the past has been kind of a bit more computer science or like software engineering focused for these types of events. But we're kind of looking to incorporate a bit more of like the hardware aspect into it. And what this could mean is like kind of working on like breadboards together, or even trying to make our own PCs. And so we also host weekly workshops throughout the semester. And so the workshops are going to be your primary way, or they're our primary way of teaching all of you new things. And so on the side right here, I have the schedule for September. So this is what we have planned so far, but our goal is to average about one workshop a week throughout the semester. You can see that workshops 2 and 3 are in the same week. So some weeks there might be more than one workshop, but we're going to try to average about one per week of the semester. And so these are types, all of these events are kind of, they're not really mandatory, and you can kind of opt into whatever you want to go to, especially for these workshops. So if there's if we're going over some sort of topic one week that you're not super interested in, but there's no pressure for you to come. But if there's another workshop somewhere down the line that you are a bit more interested in, then you're more than welcome to come to that. So none of these are ever mandatory. And so what typically happens at a workshop is usually typically it's an e-board member, and we'll introduce the e-board later. Typically an e-board or a club officer will kind of pick some topic that they'll kind of research, or it's something they already know, and they'll make a presentation and teach all the participants of the workshop about this topic. And sometimes there are more hands-on portions for these workshops. And so, for example, we had a workshop last year where we basically had a presentation on RESTful APIs. And then at the end of the workshop, or after the presentation, we actually went in and coded up our own REST API. So they won't always be just kind of listen to the speakers. Sometimes you'll actually be able to code something and kind of come away with like a little mini project at the end. Some of the workshops that we've had in the past include esoteric programming languages, quantum computing, Android app development, and machine learning. So we try to focus on a wide array of different topics, and we're always open for suggestions. So if there's something in particular that you would like to see, then we're open for your suggestion. Additionally, I said that it's typically an e-board or a club officer that hosts a workshop, but if you're a club member and you would really like to kind of get involved, and there's something that you really want to teach, then we can set up a date for you to also present your own workshop. And creating your own workshop and presenting it's a great leadership opportunity, and it's also really good to show on your resume too, because then you can say that you taught this whole subject to like 20 or 30 people, which is really good. And so workshops typically last around an hour to 90 minutes. So you can really get like a pretty decent grasp of what we are teaching. And workshops are always at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and throughout the semester, they'll usually be on a Wednesday or a Thursday. Something else that we offer is events where you can network with professionals from the industry. So some of the past companies that we've invited are Google, Cisco, and some local companies like Kitware and Global Foundries. Google and Cisco are a bit more self-explanatory, but Kitware is a company that's known for creating CMake, which is a build tool that is very popular, and applications like Netflix and Second Life have used it. Global Foundries is a semiconductor manufacturing company. First Playable Productions is a gaming company in Troy, New York, which is local. That's about 20 minutes away. So we've had a lot of different kinds of companies that have come to kind of speak to us. But our goal of these events are to kind of give all of you just a opportunity to kind of get to know these companies a little bit better, and see if the jobs, or see if the work that they provide is something that you'd be interested in, and also have a chance to kind of reach out to the people that come and speak. And so we also have speaker events where we try to get somebody that is willing to talk about some sort of research or something that they're working on in the industry. And some examples of what we've had in the past include a talk on C# from a former lecturer at the university here, Michael Phipps, who's currently a PhD student at the university. Professor Phipps is he's a big supporter of C#, and
like an expert in C#.
Yeah, it's like his favorite programming language. And he teaches a lot of different classes here, but one of them is Principles of Programming Languages. But we got him to come to one of our events here and kind of basically just lecture us about the C# programming language. And another speaker that we had one time is our former chair, James Oswald. And James presented his research on near-infrared genomic silver clusters via attribute regularized variational autoencoders, which is a bit of a mouthful. And but it was really nice to see what James was researching. And this was something that James had been working on for a year with an undergraduate research group at the university. And he ended up winning the UAlbany Presidential Award for undergraduate research. So it was really nice to see what James was working on for that. And so I also want to talk about the leadership opportunities that we're offering this semester. So you guys can get a bit of a better glimpse of how things kind of work here. So we have an e-board, which means executive board, and there are 4 positions on the e-board. There's the chair, a vice chair, a treasurer, and a secretary. So those are the 4 main components of all of the officers here. And then we also have a J board and a D board. And so the J board's job is to basically shadow the E board. And the reason we have a J board is so that we can create a smoother transition from one E board to another. So we're hoping that the members of the J board are able to kind of learn something by shadowing the E board and working with them. And then they'll be a bit more prepared to take on the role of the E board once the E board members graduate. And so I do say shadow, but sometimes the job of J board members is more hands-on than just kind of observing how the E board works. So sometimes we'll even offload a little bit of our work onto the J board members. So it's a little bit more engaging. But if anybody is interested in getting into a leadership position or eventually being on the E board and kind of shaping the club to your own vision, then the J board is a really good entry point to that. So we also have a D board, which is kind of like a board of directors. And the purpose of the D board is to assist with a lot of different things. And so in the past, we've had members working on our social media outlets and reaching out to companies and people to come and talk here, and also people to assist with all communications with the club in terms of sending out emails and reminders and announcements. And I'll get into a bit more of the leadership opportunities on the next slide. And as I said before, we're completely open to people that are really keen on presenting their own workshop. And like I said before, it's something really good to show on your resume. And if there's any sort of position or if there's any sort of involvement that you would like to create with the club, then we're all open to your suggestion. So like, for example, if you have like a cool idea for like a Discord bot, and you would kind of want to work on that, then you could let us know, and we could kind of create some sort of position for you, where you can kind of create Discord bots for us. And we're also looking for students that would also be willing to serve as helpers in our Discord, so that if anybody has any sort of question throughout the day, then they can kind of respond in a quick manner. And so here's a breakdown of all of the JBoard and DBoard roles. So like I said before, the job of the JBoard is mostly to shadow and assist the eBoard so that they can get ready for being the eBoard themselves. And on the right here, we have all of the DBoard roles. So we have a social media director, and their job is to pretty much just be in charge of all of our social media outlets, which are Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And I believe that's it. And so their job is to send out reminders on social media and post photos, and just making sure that we're engaged on those outlets. The communications director is somebody who sends out emails and reminders, emails to the CEAS listserv and also the IEEE listserv. And if you noticed in your emails that you got an email from the IEEE, that was from Matthew Killeen right here, who's our treasurer. But if that is kind of a job that you'd be interested in, that's basically what you'd be doing. And you'd also be sending out reminders on our Discord. The outreach director is in charge of connecting with companies, connecting with industry professionals, and also professors on campus. That would be to kind of get them to come here and tell us a little bit about what they're working on or what company they're working for, and creating networking events for us too. The intelligence director, so their role is to participate in the student association meetings. So the student association is our student government here at UAlbany. And so they have weekly meetings. I believe they're on Wednesday, usually at night. I might be wrong about their schedule, but so the intelligence director's job is to go to these meetings and kind of just see what's going on, and kind of be a liaison between the officers and the student association representatives. And so there's a focus on kind of creating a good relationship between us and them. And also, we also ask that they report kind of like what's going on. So like any sort of bills that are being passed, or if there's like any sort of corruption happening too, then they can kind of report that to us, just so that we know what's going on with the student association. The webmaster is going to be mostly is in charge of maintaining our website. Um, so if working on some sort of web development project sounds interesting to you, or if you want to gain some more real world experience, then this would be really good for you. Be really good to show on your resume too. And so then we also have we have two new positions here at the bottom, the marketing director and the programming director. And so the purpose of the marketing director is to create flyers for all of our events. So ideally somebody who is a bit more artistically apt would be a really good candidate for this position. And the job of the programming director is to organize all non-technical events. So this would include anything like any sort of kind of like meetup or get together that doesn't really involve something technical. That would be their job. All right. And so what I'd like to do now is just kind of go and introduce the eBoard to all of you. And so you already know me a little bit, but so my name is Tony, and so I'm the chair of the organization this year. So I'm a computer science major and I'm a senior, and I am a local to Albany. And so I'm actually a commuter student right now. And so something that me and the rest of the eBoard is going to do is just share with all of you one of our favorite experiences or memories with the club. And so I would say, so my favorite is a meeting that some of us had at the end of last semester. So it was nice to see everybody in person, but essentially it was a little transfer of power ceremony between the old eBoard and the new eBoard. But it was the first time I had met some people in person, like the former chair, James Oswald. And he got us rubber duckies and awards, and it was really nice to see people. So I'd say that was my favorite. And so I'd like to move on to Joshua Cho.
So hello everyone. So my name is Joshua, and I'm sorry for wearing a mask. I'm in the library, that's why. So I'm the vice president for this organization, and I'm a junior majoring in computer science and applied mathematics. And I'm from South Korea. And I decided to join IEEE because of diverse activities offered. And what I like most about our organization is workshops on various topics, like building Discord bots or machine learning, or learning about other programming language. And so if any of you have questions about IEEE, you can always contact me via email and or through Discord. And yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Josh. All right, so next we have Matthew Killian.
Hey guys, my name is Matthew Killeen. I am the treasurer of the IEEE Albany branch this year. I am from Floral Park, New York. That is on Long Island. So all those Long Island guys out there, what's up? I am currently a senior at the university. I actually transferred here in my junior year from community college, so I'm a transfer. And I would say one of my recurringly best experiences with the IEEE are definitely the Monday night professional development nights. I really get a kick out of those just because you get to meet, solve problems, and kind of just see how other people approach those problems. It opens up your mind to pretty much, I guess, other people's thought processes, and oh, maybe I completed it this way, but maybe there's a better way, or just maybe there's a more unique way that can that I can solve these different kinds of algorithms and data structures problems, which kind of more outwardly apply to just solving problems in general. So it's really fun to challenge yourself and kind of just get into just be like, all right, I'm just gonna do this and try to solve this problem.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, it's those nights are a really good way to practice those things. All right, and next we have Emily.
Hi. This is really good timing. I just got out of my last class, so this is perfect. Hi, I'm Emily. I'm the secretary for the 2021-22 year. I'm a computer science and applied mathematics major in the general track. I have a minor in mathematics and informatics as well. I am sort of a senior this year. Got another two semesters or so. If I had to think about a favorite experience with the club, quite honestly, all of our meetings and workshops, especially over the last year and being remote, definitely helped me keep going. Personally, I was a big fan of the April Fool's workshop that our previous chair put on last year, kind of talking about some of the jokes or more fun libraries or programming languages. But I also enjoyed our intro to Android Studio workshop last year. It actually helped me start my own project, which was really cool to do. I'm really looking forward to this year and meeting everyone.
Thank you, Emily. All right. And so that is the eBoard. And so we also have a faculty advisor. And I would like to make you all aware of who it is, but our faculty advisor is Professor Jonathan Muckle, and he is mostly involved with the electrical and computer engineering side of the CEAS College. But if you have any questions about the IEEE, you can always ask Professor Muckle. You can either go to Professor Muckle or you can always go to one of the eBoard members. And all right, so that's about it. So I'd like to just wrap things up. And if any of you have any questions or anything, please feel free to unmute yourselves, and you're also welcome to turn on your video, or you can keep it off. But feel free to ask. Our Discord server is right here. And so I can put that in the chat in case there's anybody who isn't in here yet, isn't in the Discord server yet. And if you'd like to stay up to date with us on our social media outlets, then you can check out our Instagram and Twitter. And we also have our GitHub right here if you would like to look at our past workshops and our materials for our past workshops and other cool things. But yeah, does anybody have any questions or comments or anything? Or anything that you'd like to add? And I'm gonna try to read through the chat. I have like 30 unread messages.
I don't know if they can unmute themselves.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah, I had said that earlier because I didn't want people just to start speaking out of nowhere.
Oh.
I think I changed that before when I went to the view. Actually, no. Where did I do that before?
Melissa, I see your question. So our meetings are going to be, oh yeah, Dan just answered it, but most of our workshops are going to be on Discord. And so the way that the way that the events are going to work, it's going to depend on the event. The coding night events that we have on Mondays at 8 are going to be, probably 100% of the time they're going to be on Discord, since we're just doing like LeetCode questions. Friday nights, they're going to be, so the Friday night professional or side project development night events are going to be on Discord starting off. And as the year goes on, they'll possibly transition to in-person events, depending on whether we get more like computer hardware to work with. So if there's ever a if there's any sort of reality where we get like something that we can do hands-on, like working with breadboards, then those Friday events have a very good chance of becoming in person. In terms of workshops, it's going to depend on the workshop, and it's going to be left to the discretion of the workshop owner. So, the workshop owner is essentially the person that is creating and presenting the topic or their workshop. And other events like industry networking and speaker events, they will be, so they'll either be in person or on Zoom, or sorry, yeah, probably Zoom, depending on the availability of who we're getting to come speak here. But we're gonna try for some of them to be in person. So I hope that answered your question.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm typing so much, I could probably just speak out loud. Answering a little more to that question too. Yeah, definitely right now is a good time to join. I know Julian was asking that question, but yeah, if you're interested in electronics, computer engineering, electrical engineering, we're really aiming to try to improve our coverage of that, since mostly we've been computer science the last year or two, or since we kind of have gotten bigger. So we're really looking for computer engineers and electrical engineers to join, because we really want to be faced with your problems. Honestly, we want you to bring them to us. And we have a good budget now. So as far as the hardware stuff goes, we can actually get stuff like, possibly like Arduinos or, Raspberry Pis or something to that effect. We can work with, circuit boards and whatnot, and do some hands-on stuff. Also too, it doesn't always have to just be physical. There is some good, like at least for integrated circuit design, you could always go to like something like a Logisim. I could probably actually pull that up. I've mentioned in the past. It's pretty much just like a virtual integrated circuit design platform that you can practice. I don't know if they teach that in the engineering, electrical computer engineering, but it's definitely fun to play around with. So I'll put that in the chat. Just a link to that. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, like what Matt was saying, we have a very flexible budget this year, and there's a lot we want to do with it, and we have plans for what we'd like to do with it. Everything we do with the budget does have to get approved by the student government here. So permitted that what we want to do with like these hardware events and that Matt was talking about get approved, then we are definitely going to do them.
Anyone have a home lab? Like an actual lab? Not me. I don't have my own lab, unfortunately, but
I just mean like Stabbers in general.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
I just mean like Stabbers in general.
Oh, no, not right now. No, I don't know if any of you guys have one.
James says he's building one.
If you guys want to know anything about it, let me know.
Yeah, sure. Love to hear what you have to say on that. Definitely looking for more people to I guess vocalize what they know in the IEEE as well. Really love that kind of conglomeration of knowledge. So yeah, definitely. Any other questions from you guys or anything you want to talk about specifically? Because honestly, we're here just to hang out and answer your questions.
I got a question for everyone. Has anyone done any actual like work on a website project that's not theirs before?
Any work on a website that you didn't originally create, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. I had some. I was at an internship this past summer. I was working on a web app that was an internal platform that the company was using. So that I believe that is a yes to your question.
Yeah. So how was the organization internally for that? I'm just curious.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I couldn't hear you clearly.
How was the organization internally for that? Was it well organized or no?
Oh, like just in general, was the project just well organized?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we used Agile to keep track of things. I don't know if anybody here is familiar with Agile, but it's a set of methodologies that you can use to kind of organize what you're working on a little bit better. And it's very useful if you're working with a team. And so basically some aspects of Agile are like daily stand-up meetings that are like about 15 minutes where you can kind of talk about what you worked on since the last meeting, what you're going to work on today, and then if there are any roadblocks that you have. Another aspect is using something called Kanban boards, which is kind of like a board with different columns, and you can kind of think of them as a way to organize the progress of different aspects of the project you're working on. And so a lot of times we would use Kanban boards with tickets. So if there's like a specific bug, yeah, Trello. Okay, yeah, you know what Kanban is. But if anybody else doesn't know what Kanban boards are, if there are like specific bugs or issues that your team is working on, you can kind of separate it into like needs to be worked on, is in progress, has been finished, is being reviewed by QA, and has been like put into production. So we used a lot of techniques like that. But yeah, so I would say overall it was pretty well organized.
It would be an interesting concept to kind of cover in a workshop, just software engineering, software development workflows and work cycles, like life cycles. I think that'd be an interesting topic.
Yeah,
definitely covers the, I guess, more industry related, problems that have to be solved.
Yeah.
Just to kind of really quickly backtrack just a little bit to what we were talking about with the possibility of doing different types of workshops this semester. So we are like a student-run organization. The eBoard is here to sort of just lead you guys and provide material and run meetings, but we're students just like you. So if you guys have feedback or topics that you want to cover, we're always willing to take that kind of feedback. So definitely hit up our Discord or DM any one of us, and we'll definitely work stuff out this semester.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Hello, eBoard. I would like to know what workshops we have in store this semester.
Sounds good.
So maybe.
In this,
we can share about,
what is this?
We can share a bit about the workshops we have planned.
Yes. So on Thursday, September 11th, Joshua will be going over either machine learning or Android app development. On Wednesday, September 15th, Emily will be going over Linux and virtual machines. On Thursday, 9/16, I will be going over tips for getting a job in the tech industry. And on Wednesday, September 22nd, Brian, who is a member of the club and a former officer, will be going over imposter syndrome. And Brian is a really great example of a member that really wants to kind of get involved and wants to help teach something. So everybody be like Brian. And on Wednesday, September 29th, Matthew Killeen, our treasurer. Matt, did you have a topic you were thinking of?
Yeah, I'm going to cover dynamic programming.
Dynamic programming. Okay. Yeah. So we have plans for September, and then we aren't sure what topics yet we're going to be doing for October and November. But I hope that gives you a good taste of what's to come. Any final questions or anything?
Do we have to do anything to quote unquote officially join?
No, you don't. But if you want to be a voting member, then you need to, and what I mean by voting member is vote on who should get an e-board position. And voting for that will be done at the end of the spring semester. If you want to be a voting member, then you need to come to a certain number of workshops or a certain percentage of events. And I believe that is about 40%, 30 or 40%, if you want to be a voting member. But if you want 30%. But if you just want to be a member, there's nothing in particular you need to do.
Also, if you want to actually run in that election and run for an e-board position, you have to have over 50% attendance.
Yes. Thank you, James.
Do you want to also, I was thinking about just putting this in to the chat, because I think this is something, I know that this goes, like the emails that we write go to the CAS department, but if you want to sign up for the IEEE listserv, you have to actually sign up like officially. So I think, yeah, the same process still applies pretty much to subscribe. You just send an email from your UAlbany account to listserv@listserv.albany.edu, and you just write subscribe IEEE. Does that sound familiar to you guys? Because I remember writing this so long ago. I'm kind of like, I at this point, I'm not sure if people do sign up because we don't really advertise it that much. So I guess I can just post that in the chat. And people take a look at that, maybe copy that and do that for later, just so you get the emails from the actual IEEE listserv rather than just the CAS. I mean, if you're in the CAS, you're going to get them anyway, usually, but just make sure. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you're just a bio person who wants to get into technology. it happens, so.
And we're still open for questions if anyone has anything.
I'll make a comment if no one has any questions.
Fire away.
Any questions? Okay. So hi everyone, I'm James Oswald. I was the chair last year when we were completely online for the entire year. So I had fun running the club through the pandemic season. I just wanted to say that you really get out of this organization what you put into it. You should have no reason not to have a job coming out of college or get into graduate school with the amount of preparation that this organization offers on all fronts. On Monday nights, we do professional development night. On Friday nights, you can get side projects. This is all stuff that you should have on your resume when applying for a job. Internships, again, you should be getting an internship every single summer, ideally. If you haven't applied for an internship for next summer, now is the time to start. You should have applied yesterday, but today is the next best day to apply. We've had a lot of good members. The previous two chairs, well, the previous chair, the chair before me, so the chair from 2 years ago, she now works at BlackRock, the famous, or is it Blackstone? I don't know. Huge financial institution. She easily graduated college making $100,000 a year. Very impressed with her. I am now a PhD student right across the river at RPI. And honestly, this organization definitely helped me get into that program with all of the experience that I got from side projects and everything. And as well, the previous chair from the year before was the one who encouraged me to reach out to my lab advisor, and she put in a good word for me, and I was able to get a lab position thanks to that, which again played a huge role in my ability to get into graduate school. So again, I think that this organization is great, but you really get out what you put in. If you put in and get leadership experience and you get technical experience, you're going to take a lot away from this organization. Even if you just come to a few events, I'm sure you'll have a lot to take away. So I'm happy to be able to be here and see how well the organization is doing at the start of this fresh year. And I hope you guys do well and stay strong throughout this entire academic year. Good luck, everyone.
Thanks, James. It's nice to hear your encouraging words.
All right, well, if there's no other questions, do you guys want to wrap it up or want to just stick around? Last call for questions, possibly. You can always email us too. You know what, I'm gonna put my email.
Yeah, I'll put mine in as well. But yeah, feel free to reach out if there is something in particular that you don't really want to share here. Feel free to email either of us, and you can also contact us on Discord too via DM.
Do you guys hang out on Discord? Yeah, I actually I did not really use Discord until I got here. I had one and I just barely used it, and like my friend would always like. My friend was weird. He just wanted to go in like random Discord chats, and I was like, "Dude, this is not what I like. I don't want to do this." But then the IEEE, they use Discord, so I'm always on it. There's not a day where I'm not on Discord. So yes, I do hang out on Discord. The computer science Discord as well, headed by Dan, also a great Discord to check out. So if you're not a part of that, join that too. I think Dan's still here, right? Or yeah, he's still here.
I actually have a question. So I think James said that we should be getting like internships every like year. So are they like online internships, and is he like also talking about freshmen, sophomores, and like juniors and stuff like that? So or what like?
That's the ideal. James comes very hard when it goes to internships. I'll say that I work with, I'm actually a lab assistant too right now. I did that over the last summer, and I'm currently on a fellowship program this semester as well, doing the same work that James was doing. I was working with him. But, you know, if you can get an internship, definitely strive to get an internship. If you don't get it, don't be like, oh, my life is over. I haven't had like a legitimate internship just because that was kind of what my life was as far as like COVID, and then I was a transfer. So I had a lot of stuff that was kind of in my way. And last semester or last summer, I didn't get an internship, but I saw another great opportunity through the DMM lab. So I took it. So I guess the main thing is, even if you don't get an internship every summer, you're going to be a lot better prepping to get an internship every summer than you ever would have been if you just kind of sat around doing nothing. Like, think about that. If you come and like you're practicing algorithm data structures, working on side projects, doing your work, making sure you get good grades to get an internship like every summer versus just not doing anything and just kind of like doing nothing, you're gonna, even if you don't get internships, you're still like so far beyond what you would have been. So That's what I'll say. Work towards getting an internship every summer. If you don't, all right, just keep trying. Like, don't just keep working. Just keep showing up. That would be the say.
That's good advice, Matt. No, I do say this is the ideal. So first of all, obviously this is subjective based on where you want to end up at. If you want to go to graduate school, I recommend going for an undergraduate research position as soon as you can. There's a ton of labs here. Graduate schools love seeing undergraduate research and lab work over the summer. And you can also take independent studies with lab advisors. Then that's great for graduate school. That's the route I went. If you want to go into industry though, especially if you want to get into like a real tech company and not a joke tech company, not that, okay, that's kind of insulting. By real tech, if you want to go into like Google or any of those companies, I hate to break it to everyone, Albany isn't the best school. You need to really show how committed you are beyond just your bachelor's degree. You ideally want all 3 summers of undergrad to have an internship for. Obviously not everyone has this. I don't know a single person who actually has all 3 summers of internships, but I'm just saying that this is absolutely the ideal that you should be striving for. Even as a freshman, you should try and get an internship over the summer between freshman and sophomore year. You should go every single, oh, Dan is in the chat as well. Thank you, Dan. Yes. And you should also be doing side projects. Load that resume up as hard as you can if you're going for a serious job. And again, so a lot of people, I'm talking to people who've graduated Albany who have no side projects and have no internships, and they have to apply to like 300, 400 places before getting jobs. Like, this isn't a joke. It's hard to get a job in this market. As easy as they say, it's really easy. People say it's really easy, but especially if you want to come in with a nice salary, you really have to show initiative if you're going to be getting a degree from Albany. It doesn't hold the prestige as other technical schools out there, right? So obviously side projects are a must. Being able to do really well on your technical interview is a must, which we train you for on every Monday night. And being able to show those internships, again, shows that you're competent and other companies have said, hey, you are actually pretty good at this. And as well as when applying for internships, I do think this is an important point. Don't apply to 1 or 2 internships. The vice chair of this organization last year, Connor Walsh, who graduated, he applied to 40 internships before he was able to get one over the summer. So again, you really got to put yourself out there. Especially if it really depends on how you want to set yourself up. The more work you put in, the more likely you are to get a job right out of college, right? And hopefully one with a pretty good salary. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. Anyway, back to you, Tony.
Yeah. Thank you, James, and thank you, Matt. Yeah, I would like to go off of what they're saying. Yeah, if you don't go to like UCLA, MIT, Harvard, there are target schools that companies are looking for, a la MIT, UCLA, Harvard, that companies specifically recruit students from. Like if you go to the job fair here, you don't really see Google or like any other FANG company. So it is real that companies are targeting certain schools, and that UAlbany is kind of the underdog here in the situation. So you really do need to kind of really step up and make yourself marketable. And like if you need any, like if you have any questions or like you need some like advice on like how to get internships, we are always willing to help you, and I would be willing to help you like 100%. And that's what I'm hoping to do with the workshop that I'm going to be hosting in 2 weeks, tips for getting a job in the tech industry. But it's a long path, but it's definitely worth it. If you want to, if working for a top company is important to you, but working for a top company isn't also the only way to be happy. So it's also very possible to work for a bit of a smaller company or something that's a bit more local, that doesn't have a crazy application process. But yeah, I would say what James and Matt are talking about is definitely the case for any sort of like
I like the comment, man. I just don't want to be broke.
Yeah.
I'll say this: if you don't have any internships or anything like that, just get any experience you freaking can. Like literally, just build it up, and like if even if you come in with like the worst, crappiest resume ever, like after school or whatever, it's like, oh, I did like horribly. Say you go to like the legitimately worst school. If you get there and they hire you after that, nothing else matters. You're in the door. Just start getting experience and build up and work and like actually like focus on what you're doing. Yeah, exactly. All it takes is one. Yeah, it's like you keep trying, build yourself up, obviously, to help you get that. But there's a point where it's just like, all right, now let me start working. It's like almost like when you're applying to colleges, right? Like there's a lot of people in high school who like spend a lot of time like trying to get their grades tip top or like I don't know, extracurriculars up the wall, like so much stuff, and then they get to college and they're like, oh, I got to the number one college, and then they just feel like they can just rest, and it's like, oh no, you're starting college. Now's the time to actually start working. You got to have that mentality where it's just like, all right, the goal is not to get a job. The goal is, or it is, but the main goal is to like do well, like and actually get like build yourself. So take an opportunity when it comes to you, even if it's like, oh, I don't want this job, it doesn't pay that much, but if it's experience, like real experience, not like, oh yeah, I was getting coffee for this guy, but like if you can get experience, get experience.
I also just want to add quick that really good research opportunities can be just as good as internships. And there are a lot of research opportunities here on campus where you can do a lot of software engineering. And I'm sure the same is said for like hardware engineering too.
And also like other subsets, like I could say data science, but like data science kind of machine learning, which is what I've been doing with James the last summer. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff.
So then for the workshops, is there a location where we can see all like the dates and what workshop is going on? Or
yeah,
I'm looking at the Discord right now.
We have a Google Calendar that you can download. Pretty much we're going to be updating that, and you can pretty much integrate it with your own Google Calendar. Other than that, right now, I personally have been working with Tony and Brian and a few other people on a bot that'll pretty much help with that process. That's in the works right now due to just the fact that the semester's just started and it's been a little bit hectic, and I've been looking at it and I was like, we might have to just kind of take this apart and try to build it up again with a different approach. So but that's in the works. But right now, if you really just want to see the actual Google Calendar and be up to date, that's a good way to stay up to date, because that's going to be updated as far as everything else is updated. We also have like reminders and whatnot in Discord. We talking about stuff. It'll be hard if you're paying attention not to know when stuff's going on.
Yeah. You can expect there to be a coding night every Monday. You can expect there to be side project development night every Friday. And you can expect there to be a workshop or some sort of third event every week of the semester, usually on a Wednesday or a Thursday. Usually workshops will be on a Wednesday or a Thursday. And some other events like industry networking or speaker events could be on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. But we will always be sending out emails on the CEAS listserv, which all computer science, electrical and computer engineering, and sustainability engineering students should be on. And if you also join our IEEE listserv, we will also be sending email announcements and reminders through there. And if you join our Discord server, we'll also be sending reminders on that. So it'll be pretty hard to miss an event.
I just want to go back to the internship thing for a second. I started typing something, but I said, never mind. And with a little encouragement from the emperor or the old emperor, internships is like asking someone out. Rejection hurts. Put one yes and you're all set.
What a great analogy, Brian. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that.
It's true.
All right. Any final questions? All right. Yeah, so if anybody has a question that they think of, then feel free to contact any of the e-board members via email, or you can DM us on.
Wait, here's a question I got. So
okay.
when are you doing D-board elections?
D-board and J-board elections will be they're going to start the process for that will start in early October.
Okay. So just putting this out there to everyone, if you want to become J-board or D-board, now is the time to make yourself known this month. So when the time rolls around to be selected for these positions, the e-board knows who you are.
Yeah, just show up to stuff like that. You'll be a lot better for it. Just in general, just show up. That's all we ask. So whatever you can. But all right. Well, if that's everything else, I know a lot of people are just screaming in the chat now. It's probably all right. Have a good night, guys, and thank you for attending. Next event is this Friday, if I'm correct, for side project development night. So
I actually have a question.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, so like I'm not a comp sci, I'm finance, so like I'm a junior, but like I don't know half the jargon you guys are talking about. Like I didn't even know that full stack was a thing. Like I'm severely lost. I'm trying to understand. So for these seminars you guys are hosting, I have about the extent of like Python for just like literally 1 hour tutorial on YouTube. Like, am I going to be able to follow, or am I going to have to do like my own research just to even like know you guys are talking about?
I mean, that kind of question,
that will be on a per workshop basis. The host will make clear if you have to have any experience coming in. At least that's how it was last year.
So there'd be like beginner level ones then, because
yes, we had workshops last year that assumed no knowledge of programming whatsoever, and then we had workshops that assumed you had been doing it for like 3 years. So there will be, I think that'll be on the host to make that clear, what level the workshop is really targeted at.
Yeah, like if I'm gonna do like an intro to a programming language for a workshop, you might not need to have that much experience because it's an intro and it's kind of just like, and we're all kind of learning it. If I'm giving a presentation maybe about something where it's like, a deeper look into, the space, time and space complexity of algorithms, maybe you'd be like, all right, maybe this is not one for me. You can show up, feel free to show up and try to learn something, but
right.
maybe it'll be more, esoteric in that respect. So it's definitely your call. You can just opt in, opt out. But yeah, there are a decent amount of ones that are just not as intensive as far as what you need to know. I wouldn't say all of them are like that. I mean, the intro ones are always good to come to. Like I know we had an introduction to the Go programming language. I don't know Go. And, if I looked at it, it's just like, okay, it's an intro to the Go language. You could just pick it up from there.
Cool, gotcha. I guess other question. Does anyone know anything for like coding for blockchain, like Solidity for Ethereum smart contracts? Does anyone do that or?
So personally I don't. But there's actually a cryptocurrency club.
No, I'm on the e-board for that.
Oh, you are? Oh, okay.
I was more so asking if you guys, because I don't know how active David Randall is in here, because he was like sending people over here. Maybe he's not even a member.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, personally, no, I don't know anything about. I don't really know how. I don't know any implementation details of blockchain really. But does any of the other e-board?
I know, James, you were talking a little bit about blockchain.
I was discussing it with David, and I'm assuming the person with the anime girl profile picture, that's you, Kevin? Is that you?
Yeah, K-Chain.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, David has come to a bunch of stuff. We haven't done that much crypto stuff. We had a crypto event like 2 years ago. I don't know how many of the members from that are still here. We definitely, I think, Tony, if you want to look into some of the alumni, we could potentially get a crypto talk, because one of our first events once the IEEE was founded years ago was they were very interested in crypto, and we had a lot of blockchain events like 2-3 years ago. So it's definitely a good topic, and I think obviously there's a lot of hype surrounding it right now. So definitely we'd love, probably, I assume Tony would enjoy collaborating with you guys on some of these events. We could potentially look into it and host a technical workshop on writing Ethereum contracts or something like that. That's definitely something I'm sure someone here would be willing to research and host a workshop on.
Yeah, I think that'd be killer. Actually, that's kind of why I came here, because I wanted to feel out how the group was. So that's something I'd be down to do.
Yeah, honestly, you can kind of see the group as just a bunch of people interested in the world of like technology, computer science, engineering. And when you're faced with an interesting enough like subject, even if you don't know about it, it's just like, okay, I'll dive in and learn about it, and then present on it. That's pretty much how this goes. Like, I did one last year covering like software design patterns, and like I didn't know about software design patterns, but I was like, oh, I want to know about it, so I researched it. Basically, that's how it goes.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, if we do though, any more questions?
Someone had asked far up in the chat what the roles of each position were. I know you explained that earlier on, so I just wanted to tell them that this meeting probably be posted online, and you can rewind to that section of the meeting to review what each DBoard role does. And there will most likely be a document released by Tony giving very in-depth position details in October, most likely.
Yeah. Also, for all our socials, as far as the organization goes, all of the emails, which were very nicely created by one of our former members, has links to all of our socials on it for each email. So if you want to just see any of our socials, go back to an email, search up the most recent one, which I sent out Monday, and you can literally just see everything that we have: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, whatever else we have. I know we have a decent amount, so check it out. All right, well, if that's going to be it for the night, you guys want to call it a night?
Sure. Yep. And like I said before, if anybody has any questions after the meeting, please feel free to reach out. And my email is somewhere up in the chat here, but I'll put it back down here. And you can also DM me on Discord too. But yep, feel free to reach out. So we really appreciate all of you coming tonight, and really hope that you guys can get something out of the semester. And yeah, so thank you for coming.
All right, thanks guys. Have a good night.